there's a range of gear that you're going to need to start off your day Loch Style wet fly fishing. So what I've got here is a 6-weight 10-foot rod, and on the end of that I've got a large arbor reel with an intermediate sinking line. Now there's a range of these different lines available on the market, anywhere between ½ an inch per second all the way down to 6, 7, 8, 9 inches per second. Really the two that I find, if you had to narrow it down to two in Tasmania, would be a DI3 and a DI5. So that's lines that are sinking at 3 inches per second and 5 inches per second. So today I'm starting out with the DI5, which has been working really well here early in the season. So that's what we've got here. We've got our 10-foot 6-weight rod, large arbor reel, and our DI5 intermediate sinking line. That's what we're going to start off with. If I feel like the fish are sitting a little bit higher in the water, I might change to a DI3, which will get my flies up a little bit higher in the water. But for now, conditions are pretty cold, so I'm thinking that the fish are going to be sitting down a little bit deeper. So the DI5 is where I'm going to start out. On the end of that, I've just attached a 9-foot 3X leader. So I've got a tapered leader here. You can get away with just attaching straight through 3X Tippet, so you don't actually need the tapered leader for this particular technique, but we just run with it anyway. 9-foot 3X leader, that's that one. What I'm going to do at the end of that 3X leader is attach a little bit more 3X Tippet to create myself a dropper, because I want to fish 2 flies today. So I'm going to pull off about 5 feet of that 3X Tippet, and that's going to become my dropper. So all I'm going to do is simply tie a triple surgeon's knot at the end of that 9-foot tapered leader that we mentioned. So I've got my 5-footer Tippet here and my 9-foot tapered leader there. I want to create a dropper of around about 20 centimetres or so. So I've got my 20 centimetre dropper there. That's just a good length to start off with. It means that I can have a couple of fly changes throughout the day if I need to, and that dropper's not going to get too short. So about 20 centimetres or so is a nice length to start off with. Then I'm just going to tie my triple surgeon's knot by creating a loop with the 2 pieces of line and passing both the tag end and that 5-foot of 3X Tippet through that loop 3 times. There we go. Always wet the knot. Pull that down. And that's going to be nice and strong, and then that's created a nice little dropper there. Now I'll trim that top tag off, the little short one there that we've made. I'm going to use the bottom tag to attach our first fly to. Good little trick here as well is just to make a little half hitch with that dropper and just pass that back through like that, which really helps that dropper to stand out at a right angle off the main line, which is really important. So we want that fly to be out off our main line, giving it a nice free action when it's in the water. So there we go. So I've got the 9-foot tapered leader down to our first dropper, and I've got about another 5 feet of that, which is going to be our end fly on that one. In terms of fly selection, what I really like to have is an unweighted fly on the top dropper. So we've got a range here of unweighted wet flies. So we've got things like woolly buggers, fuzzle buggers, magoo style flies work really well. Black, brown and green tend to be the favoured colours, as well as some brightly coloured ones if you do happen to get, fish up high in the water chasing brightly coloured flies. A few of them can be good as well. But generally the green, the black and the brown unweighted fuzzle buggers and magoo style flies are really good. So I'm thinking today I might start off with the little olive magoo there. And that's that one there. It's got a nice little bit of flash in the body and just looks nice and natural on that top dropper. Then I'm simply just going to tie that on with your favourite knot to attach any hook to your line with. So just using the standard clinch knot here, which is going to be more than strong enough. for what we need. And there's my top fly there, sitting out off the leader on that little dropper. And the unweighted fly is going to sit nice and high up in the water. So that's really going to cover any fish that are hunting that top sort of foot or two of water. Then I'm going to come down to attaching my end fly, which is going to be a weighted fly. So I want that point fly to be the heaviest one out of the two. That's going to help with casting, but it's also going to help me to fish a different depth of water. So that fly is going to sink and really anchor the whole rig nicely. Again, there's a range of different flies you can use here. Various colours of bead and also flash and things like that in the body. Again, we've got a lot of green and black here, and also again browns and some flashier coloured flies there, if that's what I want to choose. So again, generally what you start with on a day might not be where you finish up. So simply choose a couple of flies that you have some confidence in to start the day, and you can always change those as you go. So I've got a little green one on the dropper there, so I might choose a black one to start off with. So this is a little pink and black streamer there with the little weighted bead, and that's been working pretty well for us here early in the season. So we might put that one on the point for now. And as I said, if I'm fishing for half an hour or so and I haven't really had any success, and I think that I might need to look at a different fly, it's no trouble to change those flies over, try something different. So there we go. So we've got our weighted point fly there on the end, coming up the leader about 5 feet or so to our little unweighted olive magoo there, or fuzzle bugger there, and then 9 foot all the way up to our fly line, which is the DI5 intermediate line. So that's a pretty good overview of what we're going to use today. We'll play around with things and see how we go, but that's a pretty good starting point, so we'll get out there and see how we go.